We spent the next few minutes talking about just random life. Good things that happened, bad things that happened. Stories of my adventures with Emily. Stories about how my mother's life was going. Little spats that she was having with some of her friends and colleagues. Inside jokes that they were sharing. And funny stories about millionaires falling flat on their face in awkward situations. My mother always did have somewhat of a classic sense of humor. To her, there was nothing funnier than someone trying to appear dignified and immediately appearing as undignified as possible. She loved a good fall story. The latest was about Miss Pellman, a woman whose husband worked in the financial district of Newgate City and was fairly prominent. She always boasted about her good model-like looks, despite her age, and with a little bit of money thrown in the right places, was able to secure a modeling job. However, whilst trying to flourish her appearance for the camera, which was in a poolside scene, she slipped and broke her nose, and they had to pull the entire shoot to a close, which my mother found hysterical. I did somewhat remember the woman from my childhood, and she always was, well, a bit high on herself, trying to make herself the most important person in any conversation. No matter what you talked about, it always seemed to circulate back to how well she was doing, how attractive she is. We were in the middle of laughing about her pratfall when the doors to the elevator in my father's office opened up, and it was just like looking in a mirror. If it weren't for the much better and cleaner shave and the far more dignified clothing, I'd swear it was me walking out of that elevator. There stood my brother, Michael. "Okay, Father, what's the deal? You sent out an emergency message for a family meeting. You know I was busy, right?" he said as he exited the elevator, not really paying attention, currently shuffling through one of his pockets, pulling out a cigarette and lighting it. "I mean, come on, Dad. I had a date with Marilyn Fritz." "You have seen Marilyn Fritz, haven't you?" he said as he finally looked up, taking a drag of his cigarette. And as he did, the cigarette fell completely out of his mouth, dropping still lit, freshly, to the floor. As he stared at me, standing there in the middle of the room, right next to my mother and Lilith. I gave him a smile and raised my hand to give him a slight wave. "Hey bro, how you doing? We've been waiting on you to show up." "Marilyn Fritz, huh? Wait a second. Wasn't Marilyn Fritz that geeky girl with glasses? The one who had crooked teeth? We had math together, right? The way you're talking about her, it seems like she grew up, and those teeth straightened out. Is she still got the glasses or what?" I said, a joyous smile on my face, as Michael stood there stunned, at a complete loss for words. You can't be," he said, as he looked over to my father, with a smile and a nod. "It is. It's been verified in every way it possibly could be. It's your brother, Michael. He's back." Michael tore his gaze away from my father to stare at me stunned for a few more moments before a massive smile broke out across his face. He laughed frantically as he ran over to me and immediately put me in a headlock and started giving me a noogie. "You're back! You're back! I can't believe it! The #1 nerd returns!" he said as he released me from the headlock and started shaking me vigorously. Oh my God! I don't believe it. I just can't. Look at you. It's actually you. And holy crap, did you beef up? He said as he started patting me over. Yeah, you definitely beefed up. You been working out, bro? Since when do you work out? I think you might be in better shape than me. Where the hell have you been? How? Why? Where? So many questions. Why are you dressed like that? Where did you come from? Where have you been all these years? The level of excitement and ecstatic on Michael's face and his appearance, the overwhelming joy just seemed to pour off of him. Everyone else seemed to be filled with joy to the point of tears, but Michael, he was nothing but smiles. Smiles and shouting, frantic hugging and releasing, pulling and pushing in different directions. It was as if he couldn't stand in one place. In a very short frame of time, he found himself lacking for breath. Okay, I think I'm getting too worked up. I am definitely getting too worked up. It was at that point that I finally began to laugh. I don't know why, I just couldn't contain myself anymore. Oh, you still are an overexcitable knucklehead. It's been over a decade, and you haven't changed. I don't know why, but for whatever the reason be, I am so happy about that. All these teary-eyed emotional connections were starting to make me a little twitchy. A little over-the-top enthusiasm, I think, is just what this situation needed, I said, smiling brightly in his direction. Yeah, you're one to talk. You're always Mr. Serious, nose deep into your next gadget, too busy flipping through a book or longfully staring out at the clouds to be bothered to be overexcited about anything, Michael said, still staring at me with that smile on his face, as his eyes finally started to take stock of the rest of the room and the people in it, falling on Emily, and suddenly becoming locked there as the smile on his face changed somewhat. Well, hello, he said, taking a step or two closer to Emily. And what would your name be? Hello. I'm Emily. I guess you could say I'm your brother's best friend. We've known each other since he was a kid. Apparently a short time after he disappeared. Basically, we grew up together. So you're just his friend, Michael said, raising his eyebrow a bit as his smile faded away, turning to me almost with an upset expression. Seriously, bro? What? I replied, feeling a bit confused. You've known her since you were a kid. She looks like that, he said, slightly gesturing towards Emily. And yet you're just friends? Come on. I thought we had the confidence talk, bro. Girls dig confidence. Work on it, Michael uttered. I took a deep sigh, but with a bit of a smile to it. As I caught my breath, I just looked at Michael. You know, some things never change. Even when I was a kid, you used to tell me to hit on girls. Once again, for whatever the reason be, I'm actually a bit comforted that you're still the same old Michael, I said, unable to remove the smile at that point in time, as Michael walked over to me, putting his arm around me and pulling me in a bit closer. So, if you're not dating her, you wouldn't be opposed to me taking a shot at it, would you? He said, grinning and whispering to me so that only I'd be able to hear him. Okay, that is not what I said, I replied, looking a bit upset at him. Seriously, she hasn't been here more than 5 minutes. Bro, I love you, but give it some time. And by give it some time, do you mean don't, because you're secretly into her, but too much of a scaredy cat to say anything. Or don't because there's secretly something horribly wrong with her. Once again, I sighed. No, Michael, I mean just don't. He looked at me curiously for a moment, before smiling. So option number 1 it is. No, I didn't say that, I replied as Michael left me go and took a few steps away. Don't worry about it, bro, I get ya. You're like an open book to me, I can read ya. Ugh, family, I thought to myself. It's curious how quickly you can go from thankful you have one again to, oh my God, I have a family again. Why me? I thought laughingly.